Anna Lynn died on a quiet afternoon. The hospital corridor smelled of disinfectant and rain. Nurses passed by quickly, their shoes making soft tapping sounds on the floor. No one stopped beside her bed for long. Her name was written on the chart, but it felt like it belonged to someone else. Anna lay there, thin and pale, her hands cold. She had spent 10 years as David Lynn's wife, yet in the end, she was alone. When the doctor finally came out, David was standing at the end of the hallway, speaking on the phone. His suit was neat, his voice calm, discussing a meeting that could not be delayed. When he hung up, the doctor said gently, "Mr. Lynn, your wife." David nodded before the sentence finished. "I know. Please handle the paperwork." No tears. No shaking hands. Just efficiency. Anna watched everything from above, as if she were a guest at her own ending. She saw David sign her death papers without reading twice. She saw her mother-in-law, Mrs. Lynn, frown and complain that the hospital bill was expensive. She saw no one mention her daughter, because in this life, her child had already been taken away to be raised by the Lynn family without her. So this is how it ends, Anna thought. A wife who gave everything. Forgotten. Her last emotion was not anger. It was exhaustion. Then darkness swallowed her. When Anna opened her eyes again, sunlight filled the room. She smelled fresh laundry and warm tea. For a moment, she thought she was dreaming. But then she heard Mrs. Lynn's sharp voice outside the door. Why is she still sleeping? A new bride should wake early. Does she think this is a hotel? Anna froze. That voice, she knew it too well. Her heart began to race as memories crashed into her mind. Wedding night. Red sheets. This bedroom. The first morning she entered the Lynn family home. She sat up suddenly. The calendar on the wall showed a date from 5 years ago. "I'm alive," Anna whispered. Her hands were young again. No 4 marks. No tremble from years of illness. Her chest tightened as understanding settled in. She had been reborn. The door opened. Mrs. Lynn stood there, arms crossed, eyes filled with dissatisfaction. "Anna, come out. Don't make David late for work." In her past life, Anna would have jumped up, apologized, rushed to prepare breakfast, afraid of being seen as lazy. This time, she looked at Mrs. Lynn calmly. "I'll come in a moment," Anna said softly. Mrs. Lynn paused, surprised by the tone. "What did you say?" "I said, in a moment." Not loud. Not rude. Just firm. Mrs. Lynn snorted. Uneducated girls from small families always lack manners. She turned and left. Anna let out a slow breath. Her heart was beating fast, but her mind was clearer than it had ever been. She remembered everything now. How she tried to be perfect but was never enough. How David rarely came home, always distant. How Lily Chen, his first love, hovered like a shadow. How she lost herself trying to keep a marriage that never wanted her. Anna stood up and looked at herself in the mirror. "You don't have to disappear this time," she said quietly. At breakfast, David sat at the table reading news on his tablet. He barely looked up when Anna entered. "Morning," she said. David nodded slightly. "Morning." Mrs. Lynn clicked her tongue. "Anna, the soup is too salty. Remember, David likes it light." Anna glanced at the soup. In her past life, she would have apologized and rushed to fix it. This time, she simply said, "Then he doesn't have to drink it." The table went silent. David finally looked up, surprise flickering across his face. "Anna." She met his eyes. Calm. Observing. "I'll make adjustments next time," she added, her voice even. "But today is fine." Mrs. Lynn slammed her chopsticks down. What kind of wife talks back like this? Anna lowered her gaze politely. "I didn't talk back. I explained." David frowned, uncomfortable. "Mother, it's fine." It was the first time he had ever spoken for her. A small thing. But Anna noticed. After breakfast, David left for work. As he put on his coat, he hesitated. "Are you unhappy?" In her past life, she would have said no immediately. Now she smiled faintly. "I'm thinking." David didn't understand, but something felt different. When the door closed, Anna sat alone in the quiet house. She placed a hand over her heart. No revenge. No crying. No begging. This time, she would watch carefully, protect what mattered, and choose herself first. Outside, the sunlight was warm. And Anna Lynn's second life had just begun. The Lynn family house was loud, but Anna felt strangely calm. In her past life, every sound here made her nervous: the clink of dishes, Mrs. Lynn's footsteps, the opening of the front door. Each noise meant expectation. Each moment demanded that she prove her worth. Now, she listened without reacting. That morning, after David left for work, Mrs. Lynn called Anna into the living room. "Sit," Mrs. Lynn said, pointing to the sofa like she was giving an order to a servant. Anna Saturday. Mrs. Lynn looked her up and down, her eyes sharp. "Since you married into this family, your attitude has changed already. Do you think being David's wife makes you important?" Anna folded her hands on her lap. "No." Mrs. Lynn narrowed her eyes. "Then why were you rude yesterday?" "I wasn't rude," Anna replied gently. "I just didn't apologize for something I didn't do wrong." Mrs. Lynn let out a cold laugh. "A wife's existence is to keep the family peaceful. Whether you're wrong or not doesn't matter." Anna understood this sentence too well. It had ruled her entire previous life. This time, she answered differently. "If peace only exists when one person swallows everything," Anna said softly, "then that peace is already broken." Mrs. Lynn stood up abruptly. "You." Anna also stood. She bowed slightly, respectful but distant. "If there's nothing else, I'll go prepare lunch." She walked away before Mrs. Lynn could continue. Her steps were steady, but her heart was racing. "I can do this," she told herself. Slowly. Carefully. That afternoon, Anna went through her old things. She opened drawers she hadn't touched in years: documents, certificates, bank cards. In her past life, she had handed everything to Mrs. Lynn after marriage, believing that being a good daughter-in-law meant transparency. What a joke. She quietly gathered her personal documents and placed them into a small folder. She also checked her bank account. The balance was low, but not empty. It was a start. That evening, David came home earlier than usual. Anna was in the kitchen, cooking calmly, not rushing, not watching the clock. David stood by the door for a moment, feeling something unfamiliar. The house smelled warm, but it didn't feel like it was waiting for him. "Did something happen today?" he asked. Anna shook her head. "Nothing special." Mrs. Lynn came out immediately. "David, your wife is becoming more and more unreasonable. She talked back to me again today." David looked at Anna. "Did you?" Anna met his eyes. "I spoke normally." David hesitated. He remembered her past self, quiet, apologetic, always lowering her head. This version of Anna felt distant, but clear. "Mother," David said slowly, "maybe you misunderstood her tone." Mrs. Lynn stared at him. "So you're taking her side now?" David frowned. "I'm just saying." "I know," Mrs. Lynn interrupted coldly. "You're busy. You don't understand family matters." She turned and went back to her room, slamming the door. Silence filled the living room. Anna picked up her chopsticks. "Dinner will get cold." David sat down slowly. "You've changed." "Yes," Anna said honestly. David didn't know how to respond to that. Later that night, Anna lay in bed, staring at the ceiling. In her past life, this was the hour she cried quietly, afraid David would hear. Tonight, she felt tired but not broken. Her phone vibrated. A message from her younger brother, Mark. "Sis, are you doing okay? Haven't heard from you in a while." Anna's eyes stung. She remembered how she had ignored Mark for years, always telling him she was busy being a wife. When he needed help, she wasn't there. When she needed someone, she had no one. She typed slowly. "I'm okay. Let's have dinner together this weekend." A reply came almost instantly. "Really? I'll come pick you up." Anna smiled faintly. The next few days passed quietly, but the tension in the house grew. Anna stopped waking up early to prepare breakfast for everyone. She still cooked, but on her own schedule. She stopped waiting for David to come home for dinner. She stopped explaining herself. The silence was not cold. It was controlled. Mrs. Lynn grew more irritated. "She's trying to make you notice her," she told David one night. "Women always play these tricks." David didn't answer. He had started noticing small things. Anna no longer watched him with hopeful eyes. She no longer asked where he was going. She no longer tried to enter his world. For the first time, David felt uneasy. On the weekend, Anna dressed simply and went out. "Where are you going?" Mrs. Lynn asked sharply. "To see my brother," Anna replied. Mrs. Lynn scoffed. "Once you're married, your natal family should come second." Anna paused at the door. "They were my family before this house was." She left. Outside, the air felt lighter. As she got into Mark's car, Anna looked at the city streets passing by and made a quiet promise to herself. This life, she would not disappear into silence again. And if this family could not accept her voice, she would build a place that could. Mark's car smelled faintly of coffee and detergent, the familiar scent making Anna relax without realizing it. "You've lost weight," Mark said as he glanced at her from the driver's seat. His voice was casual, but his brows were slightly knit. Anna touched her cheek and smiled. "Really? Maybe I'm just not eating too late at night anymore." Mark didn't look convinced, but he didn't press. He had learned, over the years, that his sister rarely complained. That was exactly why he worried. They ate at a small restaurant near Anna's old university. Nothing fancy. Plastic menus. Loud conversations around them. In her past life, Anna would have felt embarrassed bringing her CEO husband's image into a place like this. Now, she felt comfortable. "You don't come out much anymore," Mark said, pouring her some tea. "I thought you were busy." "I was," Anna replied honestly. "Busy forgetting myself." Mark laughed, then stopped when he saw her expression. "Sis." Anna shook her head. "It's nothing. I just missed you." Mark looked at her for a long moment, then smiled gently. "You can miss me anytime. I'm not going anywhere." Those simple words warmed her chest. Back at the Lynn house that evening, Anna sensed something was wrong the moment she stepped inside. Mrs. Lynn was sitting upright on the sofa, her expression unusually pleased. David stood near the window, his posture stiff. And seated in the center of the living room, wearing a light-colored dress and a familiar gentle smile. Lily Chen. Anna stopped walking. "So it has started," she thought calmly. "Anna, you're back," Lily said first, standing up politely. "It's been a long time." In her past life, Anna's heart had dropped at this sight. She remembered the jealousy, the panic, the desperate need to prove she belonged here. This time, her emotions were flat. "Hello," Anna replied, nodding slightly. Mrs. Lynn beamed. "Lily is here to discuss a business collaboration with David. She'll be staying for dinner." Anna took off her shoes. "I see." Her lack of reaction made the room awkward. Lily looked a little embarrassed. "I hope I'm not disturbing you." "No," Anna said truthfully. "This is David's house too." Mrs. Lynn's smile stiffened. She had expected Anna to show jealousy, to lose control, to give her a reason to criticize. Instead, Anna went to the kitchen calmly. David watched her back, something twisting faintly in his chest. At the dinner table, the difference in treatment was obvious. Mrs. Lynn placed food in Lily's bowl. "You've always been thin. Eat more." She glanced at Anna's empty bowl and frowned. "Serve Lily properly." Anna reached for the serving spoon herself and placed food into her own bowl instead. "I'll eat what I want," she said calmly. Lily froze, chopsticks in midair. David spoke up. "Anna." "It's fine," Anna said gently, cutting him off. "Please continue your conversation." The words were polite, but the distance was clear. Lily tried to laugh it off. "Anna, you're still the same, so quiet." Anna looked at her. "Am I?" Lily didn't know how to answer. That night, David found Anna in the study, sorting through documents. "What are you doing?" he asked. "Organizing my things," Anna replied. "Why?" David frowned. "You live here." Anna looked up. "For now." The answer unsettled him. Did Lily's visit make you uncomfortable? Anna shook her head. No. I just realized something. David waited. This family, Anna said slowly, will always choose what it wants first. Not what's fair. David stiffened. What are you trying to say? I'm not accusing anyone, Anna replied calmly. I'm just preparing myself. For what? David asked, his voice tightening. For the moment I'm asked to step aside, Anna said quietly. David's face darkened. You're my wife. Anna smiled faintly. Yes. But that hasn't stopped anything before, has it? David had no answer. Over the next few days, Lily appeared more often. She and David discussed work late into the night. Mrs. Lynn praised her openly, comparing her to Anna without restraint. Lily understands David's world, Mrs. Lynn said one afternoon. Some people are just born to fit. Anna stood nearby, listening. In her past life, she would have cried herself to sleep. This time, she picked up her phone and made an appointment with a lawyer. Not for revenge. For protection. That evening, she called Mark. Can I stay at your place for a few days soon? Anna asked. Of course, Mark replied immediately. What happened? Anna looked out the window at the brightly lit city. Nothing yet, she said softly. But I want to be ready. As she ended the call, Anna placed a hand over her flat stomach, a place that in her past life would later hold unbearable pain. Not this time. This time, she would not wait to be chosen. She would choose first. The hospital hallway was bright and clean, filled with quiet footsteps and low voices. Anna sat alone on the plastic chair, staring at the pregnancy test report in her hands. The words were clear, impossible to misunderstand. 6 weeks pregnant. In her past life, she had found out much later. By then, her body was already weak, her emotions constantly strained. Mrs. Lynn had complained the timing was bad. David had been silent. The child had never made it past the first trimester. Anna closed her eyes. Not this time. She met with the doctor calmly, asking questions she never asked before: nutrition, stress management, warning signs. She listened carefully, memorizing every word. When she walked out of the hospital, the sun felt too bright. She shielded her eyes and breathed in slowly. A life was growing inside her. That fact alone changed everything. Back at the Lynn house, Mrs. Lynn was waiting. Where did you go? She demanded. To the hospital, Anna answered honestly. Mrs. Lynn's eyes sharpened. Are you sick? No, Anna said. She paused for a moment, then added, I'm pregnant. The words hung in the air. Mrs. Lynn's expression changed instantly, not to joy, but calculation. Now, she asked sharply. At this time? Anna nodded. Mrs. Lynn sat down heavily. David's career is at a critical stage. A child will distract you. And if something goes wrong? It won't, Anna said quietly. Mrs. Lynn frowned. You can't be so sure. Besides, Lily is about to start an important project with David. This is not a good moment for family matters. Anna understood immediately. In her past life, she had lowered her head and said, I understand. This time, she said, I don't. Mrs. Lynn stared at her. What do you mean? I mean, Anna replied steadily, this child is my responsibility. Timing doesn't change that. Mrs. Lynn's voice turned cold. Are you planning to use this child to secure your position? Anna felt a sharp pain in her chest, but her voice remained calm. I don't need a child to secure anything. That evening, David came home late. Mrs. Lynn pulled him aside immediately. Your wife is pregnant. David froze. What? She went to the hospital alone. And she's acting stubborn. This is terrible timing. David walked into the bedroom, his mind a mess. Anna was sitting on the bed, reading quietly. You're pregnant? He asked. Yes, Anna replied. Why didn't you tell me first? David's voice carried confusion rather than joy. Anna looked up at him. Would it have changed your reaction? David opened his mouth, then closed it. Anna continued gently, I didn't want to hear doubts before hearing my own heart. David rubbed his forehead. You should know my mother worries. I know, Anna interrupted softly. She always does. Silence fell between them. David finally said, "We'll discuss this later." Anna nodded. Okay. That night, she barely slept. She remembered lying in a hospital bed in her past life, alone, blamed for being emotionally weak, told her body had failed. She placed both hands over her stomach now, tears slipping quietly into the pillow. "I'll protect you," she whispered. "Even if I have to walk alone." The next morning, Mrs. Lynn's attitude hardened. "You'll move back to your room and rest," she said, but there was no warmth. No more going out freely. Anna understood the meaning behind the words, control. "I won't," Anna replied. Mrs. Lynn slammed the table. "You're pregnant and disobedient. Do you want to harm the child?" Anna stood up straight. "What harms the child is stress and fear. I won't live like that again." David looked between them, conflicted. Mrs. Lynn turned to him. "David, say something." David hesitated. That hesitation was enough. Anna smiled faintly. "I'll stay at my brother's place for a while." Mrs. Lynn shouted, "Absolutely not." But Anna had already packed a small bag. David stepped forward. "Anna, don't make things worse." Anna looked at him calmly. "I'm making them safer." She walked past him. At the door, she paused. "I'm not leaving to threaten anyone. I'm leaving to protect my child." Then she left. In the taxi, Anna finally allowed herself to cry. Not out of weakness, but out of relief. For the first time in 2 lives, she chose motherhood over approval, and herself over fear. And somewhere deep inside, she knew. This decision would change everything. Mark opened the door before Anna could knock twice. "Sis," he said, immediately noticing her pale face. "You're really staying?" Anna nodded. For a while. He didn't ask more questions. He took her bag and said simply, "The guest room is clean. You rest first." That small kindness almost broke her. At Mark's apartment, Anna slept deeply for the first time in weeks. No footsteps outside the door. No cold looks. No tension hanging in the air. In the following days, she settled into a quiet routine. She cooked simple meals, went for short walks, and followed the doctor's advice carefully. She also began updating her resume, reaching out to old contacts from before marriage. In her past life, she had given up her career willingly, believing love required sacrifice. This time, she believed stability required independence. Meanwhile, the Lynn house felt strangely empty. David came home late one night and realized there was no light in the bedroom. No quiet breathing beside him. No warm meal waiting. He sat alone on the edge of the bed, uneasy. "She's just being emotional," Mrs. Lynn said sharply when he mentioned Anna. "Pregnant women are troublesome." David frowned. She didn't look troublesome. She looked tired. Mrs. Lynn waved her hand dismissively. "She's always been weak." David didn't reply. Days passed. Anna didn't call. She didn't complain. She didn't ask to return. That silence began to feel heavy. One evening, Lily came by again. "David, you've been distracted lately," she said gently. "Is it because of Anna?" David hesitated. She moved out. Lily's eyes widened slightly. "Because of me?" "No," David replied quickly, then stopped. He wasn't sure anymore. Lily smiled faintly. "Maybe she misunderstood. I can explain to her." David shook his head. "That won't help." For the first time, Lily felt uncertain. At Mark's place, Anna received a call from a former colleague offering her a part-time consulting role. She accepted. The work was light but meaningful. Each completed task reminded her that she was still capable, still valuable. One afternoon, while she was reviewing documents, she felt dizzy. Mark rushed her to the hospital immediately. The doctor frowned. "You're under stress. You need emotional stability." Anna nodded, listening carefully. As she lay on the bed, her phone buzzed. "David." She stared at the screen for a long moment before answering. "Are you okay?" he asked. "I'm fine," Anna replied calmly. "You didn't tell me you went to the hospital." "I didn't think it was necessary." Silence. "I'll come see you," David said suddenly. That's not necessary either, Anna replied. David felt his chest tighten. You're my wife. You're carrying my child. Anna closed her eyes. Then please learn to protect us. Not just say it. She ended the call. David sat in his car long after, gripping the steering wheel. For the first time, he realized something had truly slipped out of his control. Weeks passed. Mrs. Lynn's health suddenly worsened. She collapsed one morning and was rushed to the hospital. David stayed by her side day and night. Lily came once, but left early due to work. Anna did not come. Mrs. Lynn woke up, weak and irritable. Where is Anna? David paused. She's resting. Mrs. Lynn scoffed. So when I'm sick, she doesn't even show her face. David said nothing. In that silence, Mrs. Lynn suddenly felt uneasy. At night, David stood alone outside the hospital room, watching other families. He saw wives holding soup, children laughing softly. A thought he had never allowed himself to have surfaced quietly. What if Anna never comes back? The idea frightened him more than he expected. At Mark's apartment, Anna sat by the window, one hand resting gently on her belly. She felt the baby move faintly for the first time. Tears filled her eyes. Don't worry, she whispered. Mom is here. She had lost so much before. This time, she would not lose this. And somewhere far away, the Lynn family's perfect image began to crack. Not from anger, but from absence. The rain fell heavily that night, blurring the city lights into long streaks of silver. David stood outside Mark's apartment building, his suit damp, his hair soaked. He had been there for nearly an hour, unsure whether to go up. He had finally found the address through Anna's emergency contact form at the hospital. In his past life, no, in the life before this moment, David had never chased anyone. Now, his chest felt tight with a feeling he could no longer ignore. He pressed the intercom. Who is it? Mark's voice came through, guarded. It's David, he said quietly. I want to see Anna. There was a pause. Then the door buzzed open. Mark didn't greet him warmly. She's resting. You shouldn't disturb her. I won't stay long, David said. Please. Mark looked at him for a long moment, then stepped aside. Anna was sitting on the sofa, wrapped in a light blanket. Her face looked softer than before, but also more distant, as if she existed in a different world now. You came, she said, not surprised. David stood there awkwardly. I was worried. Anna nodded. I know. That simple response made his throat tighten. I didn't handle things well, David said. About my mother. About Lily. About you. Anna looked at him calmly. You handled them the way you always have. David flinched. I thought keeping the balance meant keeping everyone quiet, he admitted. I didn't realize I was always asking you to endure. Anna smiled faintly. You didn't realize because I never stopped enduring. David took a step forward. Then another. Finally, he stopped in front of her. I'm sorry, he said hoarsely. The words felt heavy, unfamiliar. Then, slowly, unbelievably, David bent his knees. Mark stiffened. What are you doing? David knelt. Not dramatically. Not loudly. Just there, on the living room floor. I know it's late, David said, his voice low. I know sorry doesn't fix what I ignored. But I need to say this, Anna, I failed you. Anna's fingers tightened around the blanket. In her past life, she had dreamed of this moment, him realizing, regretting, begging. Now that it was here, her heart was calm. Stand up, she said softly. David didn't move. I don't need you to kneel, Anna continued. I needed you to stand beside me back then. David lowered his head. After a long moment, he stood. I won't force you to come back, he said. But let me take responsibility for the child. For you. Anna looked at him steadily. Responsibility is not ownership. David nodded slowly. Then tell me what you want. I want peace, Anna said. And space. David swallowed. And a divorce. The word hung in the air. Yes, Anna answered calmly. Mark let out a breath he didn't realize he'd been holding. David closed his eyes. I understand, he said finally. I won't fight you. That was the moment Anna felt something loosen inside her chest. Not victory. Release. Months passed quietly. The divorce was handled cleanly and privately. David didn't drag things out. Mrs. Lynn protested at first, then fell silent when her health worsened again. Anna moved into a small apartment of her own, close to Mark's place and the hospital. She continued working, balancing her time carefully. On a clear autumn morning, Anna went into labor. Mark held her hand the entire time. When the baby's cry finally filled the room, Anna burst into tears. A girl, the nurse said with a smile. Anna held her daughter close, her heart full in a way she had never known. You're safe, she whispered. Mom is here. David arrived later that day. He stood at the doorway, hesitant. Anna looked up. After a brief pause, she nodded. David approached slowly, as if afraid the moment would disappear. He looked at the baby, his daughter, for the first time. She's beautiful, he said softly. Yes, Anna replied. She is. He didn't ask to hold her. He simply stood there, eyes red, absorbing what he had almost lost. I won't cross boundaries, David said quietly. But thank you, for letting me see her. Anna nodded. That night, as David left the hospital, he realized something painfully clear. Love wasn't proven by regret. It was proven by presence. And he had arrived far too late. But in another room, Anna lay peacefully, her daughter sleeping on her chest. She wasn't thinking about the past. She was thinking about tomorrow. And for the first time, the future felt gentle. 3 years passed quietly. Not in dramatic leaps, but in ordinary days that slowly stitched Anna's life back together. Her apartment was small but warm. Sunlight reached the balcony every morning, where wind chimes swayed gently. Emma, her daughter, liked to sit there with a picture book, pointing at birds and asking endless questions. Mommy, why is the sky blue? Anna would smile. Because it's big enough to hold everything. Emma would nod seriously, as if that answer explained the whole world. Anna worked steadily now. She wasn't chasing success, but she was respected. Colleagues listened when she spoke. Her name carried weight again, not because she was someone's wife, but because she was competent. Mark often came over for dinner. Sometimes they argued about small things, salt, schedules, who forgot to buy fruit, but the arguments always ended in laughter. This was family, Anna realized. Imperfect, noisy, but safe. David watched all of this from a distance. After the divorce, his life did not collapse. On the surface, it continued smoothly. The company grew. Projects succeeded. His name still appeared in business news. But something essential was missing. The house felt empty even when Mrs. Lynn was there. After her illness, she had become quieter, more fragile. She still complained, but her voice no longer carried the same authority. Lily left. There was no dramatic farewell. She simply told David one day that she wanted a partner who could give her emotional presence, not just shared history. I waited long enough, she said calmly. You were always looking somewhere else. David didn't try to stop her. After she left, he sat alone in his office late into the night, staring at old photos he barely remembered taking. He saw Anna in those photos, standing slightly behind him, smiling gently, eyes always on him. He felt something twist painfully in his chest. He had mistaken silence for acceptance. Once a month, David saw Emma. Always in public places. Always with clear boundaries. Anna never interfered, but she never facilitated more than what was agreed. Emma knew David as Daddy David. She liked him. He was gentle, patient in a way he never was before. One afternoon at a park, Emma suddenly asked, "Why don't you live with Mommy?" David froze. Anna was sitting on a nearby bench, watching carefully but not stepping in. David crouched down. "Because Mommy and I live in different houses." "Did you fight?" Emma asked, her voice innocent. David swallowed. "No. Daddy made mistakes." Emma considered this. "If you make mistakes, you say sorry." David smiled bitterly. "I did. But sometimes, sorry comes too late." Emma nodded, accepting this as a simple truth. That evening, as Anna strapped Emma into her car seat, David said quietly, "She's happy." "Yes," Anna replied. "I didn't know happiness could look like this," he said. Anna looked at him calmly. "It always could. We just didn't know how to protect it." David nodded slowly. For the first time, he didn't try to argue. That night, David went home and cooked a simple meal for his mother. He cleaned the kitchen himself. Mrs. Lynn watched silently, then suddenly said, "I treated Anna badly." David paused. "I thought she would never leave," Mrs. Lynn continued, her voice weak. "I thought endurance meant loyalty." David replied quietly, "Endurance just means pain without witnesses." Mrs. Lynn said nothing more. Weeks later, Anna ran into David unexpectedly at a hospital fundraiser. They stood side by side, strangers to others, familiar only in shared memory. "You look well," David said. "So do you," Anna replied. There was no bitterness. No longing. Just peace. As they parted, David realized something profound. Loving someone was not about possession. It was about becoming someone worthy of standing beside them. He had learned that lesson too late for marriage. But not too late to be a better father. Not too late to be human. In the quiet of her home, Anna tucked Emma into bed. "Mommy," Emma murmured sleepily, "are we a family?" Anna brushed her hair gently. "Yes." "Even without Daddy living here?" "Yes," Anna said firmly. "Family is where love feels safe." Emma smiled and drifted to sleep. Anna turned off the light, standing for a moment in the doorway. She had lost a marriage. But she had found herself. And that, she knew, was not an ending. It was healing in motion. Spring arrived quietly. The city trees bloomed one after another, soft green replacing the sharp gray of winter. Anna walked hand in hand with Emma through the park near their apartment, the air filled with laughter and the sound of children playing. "Mommy, run," Emma shouted, tugging her hand. Anna laughed and followed, her steps light. She had once believed happiness required great effort, endless patience, constant compromise, silence disguised as love. Now she knew better. Happiness could be simple. That afternoon, Anna received a message from David. "Mom's condition has stabilized. The doctor says she wants to see you, if you're willing." Anna stared at the screen for a long moment. In the past, this message would have filled her with anxiety. Now, it stirred only quiet consideration. She replied, "I can visit." Foreclosure. At the hospital, Mrs. Lynn looked much older than Anna remembered. Her sharpness had softened into weariness. When she saw Anna, her lips trembled. "You came," Mrs. Lynn said. Anna nodded. "I heard you were unwell." Mrs. Lynn looked at Emma, who was holding a small toy bear. "She's grown." "Yes," Anna replied calmly. "She's happy." Mrs. Lynn closed her eyes. "I wasn't a good mother-in-law." The words were awkward, heavy. Anna did not rush to forgive. She simply listened. "I thought control was care," Mrs. Lynn continued weakly. "I thought obedience meant stability. I was wrong." Anna breathed in slowly. "I don't hate you," Anna said honestly. "But I won't return to that life." Mrs. Lynn nodded faintly. "I know." That acknowledgement, without argument, without demand, felt like the final knot loosening. Outside the room, David waited. "Thank you," he said quietly. Anna met his eyes. "This doesn't change boundaries." "I understand," David replied. "I just wanted to say, I respect you." She smiled lightly. "That's enough." Weeks later, Anna attended Emma's kindergarten open day. Parents crowded the classroom. Crayon drawings covered the walls. Emma ran up, excited. "Mommy." Daddy David came too. David stood near the door, unsure where to stand. Anna walked over naturally. "You can sit here." He hesitated. "Are you sure?" "Yes," she said. "For her." They sat side by side, not as a couple, not as enemies, but as two adults who shared responsibility without resentment. Emma stood on stage with the other children and sang loudly, completely off-key. Anna laughed. David laughed too, eyes shining. In that moment, there was no regret loud enough to hurt, no longing strong enough to pull them backward. Only acceptance. Later, as the sun set, Anna walked home alone. She passed by a cafe where couples laughed, by office buildings glowing with overtime lights, by families heading home together. Once, she would have measured herself against them. Now, she simply walked. At home, she opened the balcony doors and let the evening breeze in. Wind chimes rang softly. She thought of the woman she once was, quiet, desperate to be chosen, afraid of being abandoned. She wished she could tell her. You survive. You grow. You become whole. Anna picked up her phone and typed a message to Mark. Dinner tomorrow? Always, he replied. In the bedroom, Emma slept peacefully, clutching her bear. Anna sat beside her and whispered, "We're okay." And she meant it. Healing is not forgetting. It is remembering, without pain. Anna Lynn did not get back the marriage that broke her. She gained something far greater. A life where love did not require sacrifice of self. A family built on safety, not endurance. A future that belonged to her. The past stayed where it was. And she walked forward. Still family. No longer broken.